Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for October 16th through 19th, 2020. Well, here we are at this Libra new moon, and there is so much energy of moving forward into a whole different reality. And yet we're in retrograde alley at the same time. But in just a few short weeks, this retrograde energy that we've been feeling since March of this year is shifting. So it's been a very interesting year for the supernova soul, for all of us, but the supernova soul especially, because there's a sense that we just have no idea what lies ahead, and it's impossible to plan. Almost like it feels like, does time go on past the next few weeks and months? This is the message coming in about this, is that your awareness of this is telling you something very special. And the picture is that this opportunities of the future are so expansive and so huge that from the place of the 3D matrix cage, we can't even have a sense of what's going on out there. So if you've been feeling like all of your best laid plans and the way you were going to move forward in this year, it's almost like, every time we move into a new year, it's like your resolutions, your direction, what you want to accomplish. And 2020 derailed, but maybe we've been derailed with all this retrograde energy because the way we're going doesn't actually fit who we really are, who we don't even know, but has to do with the shifts and changes energetically that are happening on our planet and we are an integral part of. So very confusing time, but at the same time, it's like, be ready, buckle up, put your seatbelt on, or I don't know, but basically, this retrograde energy is going to shift in a couple weeks. It's just not that far away, and so we want to, we've been kind of forced, which in a way is a good thing as we look back on this year, to go within, to go to that place of the sacred moment. And that's really the best thing we can do. And for these next few weeks, it's like anchor in this vibrational, however you can get there, and open up your consciousness to the higher vibrational frequencies that are flooding the planet right now. And just, this is your job. This is why you're here. This is what makes all of Earth evolution make sense. And because the message is that feeling of not knowing and not being able to plan and not being able to find direction and not knowing who you are and just being like, that's actually evidence of that what's coming is, what's lies ahead is so different from the way we've been doing things. And that's telling you that it's a very strange message, way of telling us, but that it's very important. You are very important in this shift. And what's coming through right now is that we've been kind of being painted this world that can never change, and it's hopeless, and it's over, and it's the end of the world, and it's just gonna, humanity, it's lost cause, right, on Earth. But the message coming through right now is that, one, there's so many masters incarnated on the planet right now, and supernova souls in the highest concentration we've ever had of, even though you don't really know what you're doing or the abilities that you have as an advanced soul, you're still doing this work. And so the message is that, like, we see the masses and the sheeple, and it's like, oh God, are we ever? It's just, it does feel hopeless. Like, how obvious does it need to get in order to wake up to the truth of this lower matrix trap? But the thing is that compared to the masses, like the numbers of people, there really only needs to be a small amount of us, like, to move the whole boat forward, And so the message is that, like, in 2.5 weeks, when Mercury turns direct and then Mars turns direct, and November, it's going to be like tide turning with the retrograde energies, because we talked about how all the Capricorn planets are forward now, going direct. And so when those personal planets, Mars and Mercury, it's like, okay, go time, right? And clearly most of the world is not on the page of like turning the page into this new chapter, but that's not their role. And it only takes a few of us comparatively. And so it's your time to, so the message is that, like, if a few of us really take advantage of this shift that's happening, of the shift in November, of that forward motion, and just be like ready to go, just be like ready to leap off. I'm seeing the Fool card in Tarot. It's a 0 point, and the Fool is like, he's packed light. This is part of what we've been doing, shedding all the old stuff, shedding all the garbage, all the baggage, all the stuff. He packs light. He's coming to the edge of the cliff, but he doesn't care because he's in 0 point and he doesn't need to know what's next. And so that Fool energy is like about setting your vibration at the highest intention and vibration as much as you can in that divine timeline energy, and being willing to be a forerunner at this moment. And if enough of us take the instigation, the gift of this shift towards forward motion, we can move the whole ship, forward. And but it's like and it sounds kind of, see, this is bringing up, just even talking about it is bringing up a lot of what's coming up for the SuperNova Soul right now around earth grief, and feeling like with this thing of like, it's over, never mind, humanity, we failed. We're just, and it's like, that brings up deep programming. It has to do with the South Node in Sagittarius around failing in your mission. And, you kind of even don't deserve your mission or your purpose here because, and then grief for the earth and your feelings of responsibility for this timeline getting all off kilter, right? Except for that, do we know for sure that it's off kilter, or is it just about to self-correct? And what we've been doing for the last, 8 years or lifetimes or whatever, it's like, is harmonizing the self-correction back to the divine timeline. And so, all of this planetary grief energy, though, is coming up, and it is, like kind of facing these belief systems and programming. This has been a very deliberate program to kind of interfere with the path of the light worker, SuperNova Soul, saying, disconnecting you, like, oh, here you are, you're this advanced being, and here you are on this planet coming to help and bring your light, and it's just hopeless, and you failed. And it's all your fault. And the SuperNova Soul, for some reason, just, often carries like planetary grief in their heart and soul, because their timeline, they work with timelines and stuff, and hold the vision, understand what Earth wants to become, is becoming, has already become in the Gaia dream. And so this planetary grief is kind of coming up to be released. And so it's like, when you talk about like, oh, we got to run with this energy, we got to bridge the worlds, you got to make that leap, you got to be ready to just buckle up, buttercup, because here we go. But that kind of, you can feel how that is going to bring up resonant feelings of like where you feel like you failed in your mission before. Right. And so the thing is, like, this whole rearranging, this whole weird place that we're in with retrograde turning direct, it's like, in that, the whole thing of not being able to plan because we don't know what's coming, and total loss of direction and sense of self, that's actually the work we've been here to do. Like, that's what fits this whole time for the SuperNova Soul. And so this change of direction and being present with it, it's like everything that you felt of uncertainty through this year is validation that you're here to be that Fool. You're here to be that one who's willing to take the leap into the unknown and hold the vibrational field. So this is the a lot of stuff coming through with this Saturn and Capricorn retrograde and now direct. And it's like that our relationship to time, part of the lower, pretty much the lower matrix trap has a lot to do with our relationship to time, which must shift if we're going to move into higher dimensional frequencies. And so we're kind of coming to this place of like, time doesn't really exist. And if time doesn't really exist, the new earth is already here. And that's why you can sense that vibration, and then we're coming up with all the issues of Uranus and Taurus of like, do you deserve the higher vibration? Are you good enough? Can we, like, did you earn your new earth? It's like, well, you're actually here, you're co-creating by just existing, by allowing yourself. And the thing is that these energies of new earth, it just feels so much better. Like you can stand up out of the capsule you've been put in and like feel the energy, the life force that's available to you. And so this is such an interesting time. And it's like, it's this energy of like, it's the end of something and can't see beyond this point, but we know it's not the end, it's the beginning. And so one by one, us giving ourselves permission to feel better and move over. I know I keep saying this, but this crucial time of November 2020 is going to be this, it's almost like there's a breeze coming in, and you can like grab a hold of that momentum and kind of lift up and step over, and it's not about bringing anyone with you. Of course, that's been part of the problem, that grief, that planetary grief, and caused a disconnection with our earth, a disconnection with our mother Gaia, and feelings of insecurity in the whole human evolution. But then if you feel that you failed on your mission here, you don't feel worthy of this intimate connection with Mother Earth, but that's what we need. And it's like, so we're bridging worlds by taking advantage of this time and being super present, in that one continuous magical moment outside of time. And, kind of getting your marching orders, it has to come last minute, because if you knew the plan, then everybody else would know the plan. And, it's like, it's such a strange time, because I do see that like more and more the supernova soul is recognizing that there's this bigger part of them. And I've been saying it, but it's just a concept. And then all of a sudden it starts to become real in your life. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even know I had this bigger self. And it's like, who is this person? And how do I even function in this world as that bigger, higher self? And yet it feels so good and it feels so right and it feels so true, except for that, am I going to be on an island all alone, or a mountain out in the wilderness and nobody around? Like, how do I know what to do? Who is there? Anybody else out there that is on the light ship? Like, and it's almost like the more confused you are about who you are and where you're going, the more you're doing it right, and validates that mission and purpose here, which isn't the mission and purpose you thought it was, that you thought you failed on, because we haven't even really gotten started on it. And yet we can sense, feel, and know those new earth codes and that Gaia energy that we love and want to work with. And so it's just about stepping into that vibration and not caring. It's like, what? Super drama time. You got to be engaged, and it's like, ooh, this is such a shift, because it's like I'm coming back to that metaphor of the narcissist relationship where, you don't realize how much you're being abused. And then you start to awaken to it. And then you get, part of the empowerment out of those situations is anger, self-righteousness. And then there's resentment, and because they'll never give you resolution. They'll never give you closure, because they want their hooks into your energy. And, but that whole process, you're still feeding, if you're, it's like, it's like they still have hooks in, as long as you are frustrated, angry, resentful about what happened. And it's like, but then you're like, okay, so I'm going to go to forgiveness. But then you feel like you're going back into, being bowled over by these control forces on the planet. And so how do we own this is a Mars retrograde, right? It's like, how do we own our power back and contain, feel safe in the high frequency that we have available to us and contain it for our own uses, instead of leaking it out. And it's a very interesting energy, but one by one, these souls are sealing up their vibration and saying, ooh, I want to use this for new earth. I want to be in that energy. I'm going to give myself permission. Screw y'all, and it's like that weird place of like, because you're coming into the oneness consciousness and at the same time having boundaries of the lower realm and not feeding it. And yet it's so, whoa, what a strange time we're in. And yet the message again is like, the more strange, the more unknown, uncertain, lack of direction, sense of self, that means you're doing it. And that's validating who you are as a soul and your role here in this transition. And so together, giving ourselves permission to just be in that new earth energy and not care. If there's no time, then the play of drama movie on the earth is not even real. It's real in that we, experience those painful things, but we got to be in that place of more real where it's like, oh, I went through all of that to be completely incarnated as a God self on the earth and aware and like co-creating, co-creating doesn't mean you're figuring it out. It means that's you're the fool and you've packed light and you're ready to go and it's time and you got your animal friend and it's like you're ready to just see, set. So the energy is set your course to that highest divine, which feels really good, these hot new earth energies, and buckle up and get ready for the ride and just set your course. And it's almost like we're being asked to commit on a deeper level to the unknown, but vibrational frequency. See, all of the narcissist play and all these things we've gone through is about showing us who we are. So we own our power and we say, sacred, don't come anywhere near this, and that's the interesting thing because so many supernova souls have had a lot of people leave their life. And, part of that has to do with like, well, they have to, because you have to stop feeding them, but maybe they also did because you stopped feeding them. And they're like, no more fun here. We need our juice. And like, just think of all the juice that has been fed to, the power of these supernova souls if they contain this energy and use it for this, which is completely unknown as far as like actual path and steps and decisions and all that. But the vibrational frequency is absolutely familiar and more true and more real and more at home than anything you felt in so long. So very strange time. And this, because here we are at this Libra new moon. I hope you'll consider joining. I better finish up here, get ready for the new moon activation happening in just 25 minutes. But this Libra new moon, because it's this cardinal T-square, and cardinal signs are about starting something new, and the new moon is a new cycle, and Libra is about harmonizing, justice, peace, love, seeing the other side of the story. And it's like, we got to turn the wheel on this one. It's happening. And the retrograde energy has been, it's like gaining momentum, And so it's that message of like, okay, so we're like deep in retrograde alley right now, but it's only for a couple more weeks. And are you ready to fly? Are you ready to stand at the edge of that cliff of the 3D matrix and take that leap? It's much more fun together. So maybe you can consider joining for this Libra new moon, kind of tapping into this um, energy of bridging worlds. That this is, all of the weird stuff in your life and all the shit you've gone through is like validating who you are in your in this time of being able to be that forerunner, take that leap, hold this other vibration, and be the fool and bridge these worlds together, right? It's like we're kind of, that thing of, go from one age to the next age, one sign to the next sign. It's a very different energy. And why is that? What's the mystery behind this? The astrological signs, it's like masculine, feminine, and different elements and very different energies. So that transition time, it's like there's a nothing moment there. Maybe that's that 0 point, the fool. And it's time to just step into gear of maybe this whole reason why you're here, to just be able to be awake and realize that you are able to be at 0 point right now. And it's hard because we've invested how many lifetimes and thousands of years into the story. And it's like, oh, that was a weird movie, on to the next one, right? Like new scene, new screen, enough. So anyway, hang in there. I hope you have a wonderful new moon, and maybe you can join me on the activation. If you can't make it live, it's available on the replay. The energy's encoded. We're working outside of time. We're stepping into new earth together. Nothing more or no one to wait for. And use the dynamic, powerful energies, the support that's coming from the planetary and cosmic realms right now, cheerleading. It's like we've been talking about, I've definitely mentioned, and there's, this thing about get your popcorn, right? Because it's like, watch, here we go, we're the movie, and it's getting to the intense part, and it's like that's kind of a good energy. It's like, yeah, those events are happening in the world, and then I'm over here with my popcorn. But now what's coming forward is like, what if you are the corn that's about to pop? Like the energy's changing on the planet, when you're like popping corn, old school, in the pan, and you're just waiting for the heat to get to that point, and that's your bigger self that's getting cooked by these higher frequency vibrations, if you can allow them in. Right. And that's almost like where you can see this total separation in our reality, and people either going deeper into the clinging to the materialistic matrix conceptual reality, or receiving the vibrational energies. And if you've been receiving those energies and the oil's cooking, then your bigger self, your seed that's hidden in the seed pod is about to just flower into this beautiful, yummy food, yummy experience for you, not to feed everybody else anymore, right? And then that's how you actually serve the greater, more beautiful whole picture of what we're co-creating together. And it's interesting energy bringing that forward, because it's bringing up Libra, of course, rules relationships. And so where you have relationships in your daily life that are not like that big duality thing that's happening, where people are either clinging to the lower matrix or trying to get out. It's black and white, right? So if the people around you are clinging, you have to understand that you receiving these energies is cooking them a little bit. And it can cause some stress and tension and stuff that doesn't make sense. It's just like weird. How when people just want to pick a fight or whatever, and maybe that's the energies trying to, I see this pattern again and again, the closer you get to giving yourself that permission and establishing those higher vibrational frequencies, the divine timeline energy in your field. That's what we're being asked to do right now. But then forces will come, events and weird things. And it's like, no, pull you back into the drama. Come on. We need you down here. And it's like, that's because you being up there and out there and in the truth of what is really happening is a massive threat to the lower matrix, and once you get out and establish, then those energies can't they can't get to you. That's a big, important point for everything you're going through right now. We can evolve beyond it all. And it gets worse the closer you get to freedom. So I know it's a really intense back and forth in the dark and the light right now, but that's just validation of how powerful you are. And it's time to take back this chi in our body and use it for what we want to use it for. And the first evidence of that is you feeling more normal and better in the frequencies that are here to suit you as a soul, instead of harmonizing down, So notice this, because as you cook and you receive these energies, you're going to be cooking to people that might not, the popcorn for them, that might be really scary, and then that anger reaction comes, that programmed, like, oh, you must be the devil heretic shit. It's like deep subconscious shit that just is like, wait a minute, are we really have to play out? How long do we have to play out the dark ages bullshit, right? Except for that, remember, this is a bloom and it makes sense. It's Capricorn all over the place. Now, the other energy of Capricorn, though, is like, it's serious, right? It's like serious, like the authority energies. And that's very serious and scary, if you're in trouble. And this is how the SuperNova Soul has felt from their first foot stepped on this evolution. It's like, you're in trouble. How dare you bring your light and healing here, right? And that scary feeling of the authorities coming down on you, right? But the serious energy of Capricorn that stands alone. And so there's an energy of using the seriousness to, like, seriously get serious about who you are and what you're here to do. And just that you're just, that lower matrix is done and over for you. And the cage is breaking down, and you're programmed to fear that moment when the cage breaks down. You're programmed to say, oh, no, give me back my cage. Just whatever. I'll do whatever you want. Just help me feel safe in this 3D world. Like, that's what the sheeple are doing, right? And you played all those games. You played those roles, and it's like that beautiful popcorn of the bright white cloak of the untainted, uncorruptible soul of who you are as a supernova soul, and donning again that sacred garment and your shield of light and your armor of light, and claiming and proclaiming the truth of what we're doing here that you have in your DNA. And so just a few little things going on. But anyway, hold tight in the light. We're here together and it's finally time. So buckle up, Buttercup. And I look forward to seeing you soon, maybe on that activation or on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.